Joining us now, Congressman, Northeast North Carolina, the coastal area. That's the 3rd District of North Carolina, Republican Congressman Walter Jones. Congressman Jones, good to have you, man.
John, it's been a long time, I think almost 3 months, and delighted to be on your show. The world is upside down. I'm standing straight, and I know you're standing straight, so that's a good thing. But appreciate the chance. I know you got a lot of issues, but I hope we can start off with the declassified issue of the 9/11 information being declassified. So that's a great issue.
Let's start with that. After I congratulate you, because I haven't had you on since your big primary victory, great victory, and you're on your way to re-election, which I'm pleased about. So congrats on that. You have a fabulous staff, by the way, and I got to give a shout out to your communications director, Maria Jeffries, who does a fabulous job in reaching out to me, and she is the best. So big shout out to Maria.
Well, I'll tell you, I hate to lose Maria. She's announced that she's going to work with some writing group that works with Mark Levine, so I'm happy for her that she's gotten an opportunity. She's a great writer and a great person and a great Christian Catholic, and she has just done an outstanding job for us, and I'm glad she's got an opportunity, and that'll open a slot for somebody new. So that's the way life works, and you know that, and I do too. So that is a good thing.
All right. Well, I tell you what, she has done a fabulous job, and I wish her the best. I'm sure our paths will continue to cross. Let's go over the 9/11 declassified information.
John, you know, one of the worst events to ever happen on the soil of America was the 9/11 attack. I think we all remember anxiety, anxious times. We remember how we hated what had happened to our fellow Americans. And I had worked for the last 4 years, and I'll explain that very briefly, with Steve Lynch from Massachusetts, who's a Democrat, Thomas Massey from Kentucky, a Republican. The three of us worked together for 4 years to get the 9/11 congressional inquiry information that was classified by the Bush administration, and there's an issue there if you want to talk about it. And so, therefore, we worked together along with Bob Graham, the 9/11 families from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. We had so many people that joined us in this thing, and a lot of people I don't have time to talk about that put us on their shows for 4 years. We did one show with you, I believe, on this issue. And we were able to finally, with the help of so many people, to put pressure on the administration to recommend, and that's the key word, to recommend to the Congress. The Congress owns the report and the 28 pages, and they recommend, the Obama administration recommended to the House and Senate that they declassify the information. Anyone listening to your show today that has any interest can go on our website, and read the 28 pages. This shows that the Saudis were directly linked to funding the hijackers. The hijackers came here to America and could not even speak English. And they learned to fly planes, they learned to do other things, and the Saudi family, which is a large family, were complicit in funding these people while they were here. It is a great document for the American people to read, who believe that America's strength is that the American people know the truth when their fellow Americans have been killed.
Congressman, you say the Saudis were complicit in this. Were they aware of Osama bin Laden's plan? Or, I mean, when you say they funded them, and I did read that, but it was unclear that the funding was for that reason.
Well, I think it was very clear, John, in the 28 pages, Prince Bandar and his wife funded about $100,000 they through a conduit to a individual who was working with the hijackers. If you read the 28 pages, the key is that Prince Bandar was with the Saudi embassy for about 5 years, and he developed friendships. I got it right here in this article. It says Prince Bandar was a Saudi ambassador to the United States from 1983 to 2005. He was known for close relationships with President Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush. He was especially close with George W. Bush from 2007. An article from 2007 quotes, "No foreign diplomat has been closer or had more access to President Bush, his family, and his administration than the magnate and fabulous wealthy Prince Bandar." Bandar was able to move in the highest political circles with Democrats and Republicans. And it was Bandar, you read the 28 pages, you saw his name mentioned 2 or 3 times along with his wife. John, the reason this was so important, Bob Graham, who's retired senator from Florida,
right,
was a co-chair of the 9/11 Congressional Inquiry Committee.
Right.
And so many of those people on that committee, which obviously I was not, have come out and said that this is, how can you develop a foreign policy? And I want to thank Donald Trump came out and said that these 28 pages should be declassified. This is not the end, and it's all it is really an understanding of who and what happened on that tragic day and who are our friends. And it's time for America to stop being stupid with their foreign policy.
Okay,
and we have for so many years. We need to stop it, whether you be a Republican or a Democrat.
Congressman Jones, so this 28 pages is out there. I did read what was on your site. I think I agree 100%. It ought to be declassified. But why have we taken no action with the Saudis?
Well, you know, the bill that's passed the Senate to allow the 9/11 families to go into the court system and sue the Saudis over this issue of the 9/11 event. Now we got the bill coming to the House, and a Virginia congressman, a really good guy who's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Bob Goodlatte, his committee is supposed to take that Senate bill up in September, and we will have a vote in the committee, and then if it passes the committee, and I think it will come to the floor, and I think it would be an overwhelming vote in favor of allowing the families of 9/11 to sue the Saudis. It just is one of those things that, you know, John, you're a smart man. You know, and I know, no nation can remain great if it doesn't understand history. And this is all about one of the worst, most horrendous attacks on our country in the history of America, really.
You know, it is. And, you know, the fact that we still play footsie with the Saudis and have done nothing about this, I'm still trying to get to the bottom of the objective. I mean, you read these 28 pages. Obviously, this commission knew way before this was even published. They knew what was going on, yet we continue to fund the Saudis. We defend them. We consider them to be, you know, one of our number one allies outside of Israel in the Middle East. And I'm trying to figure out why.
Well, John, I share your question and your frustration. That's the reason that we are going to, in the either probably the week after 9/11, in a couple of weeks, we're going to do another press conference. The one thing that we did for 4 years, we would every so often we would hold news conferences, and we would get the 9/11 families to come down from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and be part of that news conference, because that would help get the press on this issue. We also had Bob Graham to come up to 2 or 3 of the news conferences. That also would help us get press. We knew, the 3 of us knew, that the only way this was ever going to get done was to do things every so often, like news conferences, radio interviews, TV interviews, and do everything we could to continue to help educate the American people, to demand, the American people needed to demand the Congress to declassify this information. And I'm with you on this. I just do not understand, and maybe the lawsuit, there's a lot more to come out. There really is. I mean, this was a tremendous help to get these 28 pages declassified. But I've actually, I'm going to ask the 2 chairmen of the Intel Committee on the House side, Devin Nunes and Adam Schiff, to make an inquiry into the records of seeing how often, under Democrat and Republican, Prince Bandar visited the White House. Because if we know that he was part of the royal family, of course it's a big family, but part of the royal family, and he was sending money to the hijackers to help them live and to learn to fly, then it needs to be exposed. It needs to be exposed. America will never remain strong if we are void of the past.
Well, you got to get to the bottom of this, Congressman, and I appreciate you bringing light to it. I'll be at your press conference whenever that is, because you got to know the truth, because you can't predict the future if you don't understand what's going on. And
John, would you like to have Bob Graham on your show as a call-in?
Absolutely.
Okay, I can arrange that. We've got to be very, very close, and I will talk with his family and see if we can get it arranged. I'll get Brad to email you everybody you need to talk to, but I'll get Bob Graham to be on your show.
Okay, and I'll follow up with...
And that should be an hour. I'm going to tell you, he's got so much more information than I have. It's just unbelievable.
We'll do like 8 to 9, 2 segments. I'll follow up with Maria on that, and hopefully we can get him on this week or certainly prior to Labor Day. So
It'll probably be right after 9/11, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Because he's traveling now, I know that. So let us make the initial contact and get back to you. Then you'll know his daughter's name is Kendall. We'll work with Kendall to get this arranged for him to call in.
All right. That sounds excellent. Congressman Jones, I want to get to TPP.
Sure.
President Obama putting the paperwork through now. The TPP is going to come up in the lame duck session. Hillary Clinton's already said she isn't going to do anything to stop it, even though she's come out and said she's opposed to it. Do you have the votes in Congress right now if it comes up November 15th in order to stop it?
Yep. John, let me say this. This is one reason I was very much opposed to Paul Ryan becoming Speaker. He is a free trader. To me, free trade will continue to destroy America. I know we need to have trade. Let me get that out to some of your listeners. But but the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP, is over 6,000 pages. It was not written by the Congress. It was primarily written by outside groups working with the administration. Most members of Congress, if they were honest with you, I did read the summary. Let me make it clear. Months ago, and that in itself raises questions to me of unintended consequences of what can this thing do and how are we going to benefit as an American people. So my point is, I think right now that it's going to be difficult, and I can eat my words. I've done it many times. I think right now it would be very, very difficult for President Obama to ram this thing through, because on the House side, there are more Democrats opposed to this bill than Republicans, but there are large numbers of us in the Republican Party who also are opposed to it.
Right. With those two sides working with each other, regardless of who gets elected president in the House, it's going to be tough for them to cobble together 50% plus one.
Absolutely,
right?
Today. Absolutely. I would promise you it would be.
All right. Well, at least we have some good news. North Carolina, right now, public opinion surveys showing Clinton with a growing commanding lead there. What's up?
John, what is happening, in fact, there's an article in the News and Observer today. You can pick it up online. We are seeing the bigger cities of North Carolina, Raleigh, Greensboro, Charlotte, and Winston-Salem, and all these cities, they're having tremendous growth, and so much of this growth is coming in from out of state, and they just have a very different political philosophy. Okay, well, what am I trying to say? This is what I'm trying to say. I said it Saturday down in Carteret County. They opened the GOP headquarters and asked me to make a few comments. We have got to get the vote out. We've got to be in North Carolina. If we're going to hold this state for our Republican ticket, we have got to have the best organization we've ever had, and that's the ground game. You know that. You know about ground games as well as I do. We've got to have the best organization we've ever had to get the ground game out and offset in some of these other counties that are not as large as, say, a Wake County, which is Raleigh, these other areas, and balance this thing out. I think it's going to be a close vote. No matter which way it goes, it's going to be a close vote. But again, the party that has the best ground game, the best organization to get the vote out, they're going to take this state. It will be close.
Well, right now, Clinton has the best ground game in every battleground state, Congressman. There's no question about that. They put a lot more resources in it, a lot more money in it. We're facing the same thing in Virginia. Now, that doesn't mean that Trump and the RNC can't catch up. They're working on it. But I think you're faced almost like we're faced with in Northern Virginia, where you had, all these people that come to Washington, D.C., they go to Northern Virginia. They're not going to vote for a Republican under any circumstance. You look at your internet sector areas, your banking areas, you get a lot of people with a lot of money coming into the state. They don't have the same perspective as the majority of North Carolina, which has always been middle class, working class. That's kind of dissolving now with all the, the five big banks in there, right?
Well, John, you and I both know, because we love politics, September and October are going to be the key months.
Yes.
I don't know, and I have no inside information what the Democrats have and what the Republicans have, but I know and you know that there's more to come out, probably on both candidates, but there's more to come out on Hillary Clinton. And it's just a matter of whether people want to believe that they've got integrity in the White House or they don't have integrity in the White House. And I know Mr. Trump has his weaknesses, too. Let me make that clear. But when it comes to telling the American people the truth, I don't think Ms. Clinton can do it.
All right. We're going to see what plays out. We're going to have you back in a couple of weeks. Also try to get Bob Graham on.
I'm going to work on that for you, John. Thank you so much.
All right. I want to thank Congressman Walter Jones for being with us. More information, go to jones.house.gov. That's jones.house.gov.